Today we're back for another episode of the Human Performance series, and we're here with Mark, who's going to tell us all about himself. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Would you mind telling us more about yourself?
Sure. My name is Mark Davis. I'm a cabinet maker and owner of Mark Davis Bespoke Interiors.
So when you say cabinet maker, to me, that's a very niche specific skill set. What got you into that line of work?
I'll be honest, I've always been into woodwork. Right from when I was really little, I was always into it. After school, went off and studied music for a long time and soon realised that there wasn't a lot of money in that industry unless you become very, very successful. I'll be honest, the only other thing I was good at was woodwork. It was the only other thing I was interested in. And just so happened, I'm sat looking through the paper and saw an advert for apprentice cabinet maker. Barely knew even what a cabinet maker was. It was very much, I knew I liked woodwork. And kind of haven't looked back since, in that was my first step into the industry, and it was a very commercial side of the industry where we were making lots of things for hotels, restaurants, stuff like that. Throughout my apprenticeship, I changed a few companies, and it was really nice because I then got to see the domestic side of it as well. And I'll be honest, that's where I kind of really fell in love with the craft, so to speak.
Can you share a moment in your career where you've had a challenge that's really pushed your limits, and how have you been able to get through it?
I'll be honest, being a cabinet maker is all about challenges. You're always problem solving and trying to deal with challenges that need to be overcome. The biggest one for me was a few years ago where I did a humongous fish tank for a domestic client. And I'll be honest, it pushed both the technical, the physicality, everything was just a little bit extreme. Thankfully, at the time, I had an amazing member of staff who was right there with me and understood that there was more to being a member of staff than just showing up, doing a job. So I was able to lean on him for that support to kind of basically just get through it, be strong. If you find that problem, don't look at it as part of a bigger problem. Find that singular problem and then fix it. Well, I had the people around me that helped me do that, and that was great.
With situations like that, there's obviously a lot of stress and there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips with dealing with situations like that?
Find a release. And it doesn't matter whether you like to play sport or you like to go for a walk, you like to read a book, find a release. Personally, I like to swim. I swim twice a week. And that's an amazing way to do kind of one or two things. And that is either I can think or I can actively not think. If there's a problem that I need to dial in on, do you know what? If I go for a swim for 30 minutes, that gives me half an hour to just length after length, just think and think and think and think. Or if I am really stressed and it's been a really heavy week, I can get in the pool and switch off. Genuinely switch off, and then I get out and I feel great.
I think also with what you do for work, problem solving is, it's a huge thing, and you can easily hyperfixate on problems.
You can spend a lot of time just absolutely obsessing over stuff that, 3 months later, I'm talking to a client and I happen to mention, oh yeah, I had to do that. And they don't care because it's such an insignificant part of that project. But at the time, because maybe other stresses were loading on top of each other, you just go right down the rabbit hole and you absolutely go into it. And it's not necessary. So having that release is just so important.
And when the lines are blurred between performance and stress, how do you continue to stay motivated, pushing on, taking on these big projects?
Do you know what? Some days suck. Some days you are not your best. And I've managed to get really good at accepting that. Some days you don't have to be great. Some days, you'll go to work, you'll smash it, it's brilliant, it's great. And then other days you go into work and you're like, I feel like junk, I'm not loving this. So I do my best. And that sounds really naff, but if on that day I'm like, I'm just not feeling it, well, I set a goal. Today I want to do that. And that might be, that in itself might only be 2 hours solid work. And that's what I'll aim to do. But I'll achieve that and I will do that. And then it might only be 3 o'clock and you're like, oh, cool. I'll do something else. So I try to keep my daily goals realistic.
I think it's also important what you said about not beating yourself up for feeling low or, not up for it.
I think it's really important to just take each day, set your goals. Like if you are having a bad day and you feel rubbish, don't go into work trying to kind of go, oh, I've got to achieve all of this massive amount of work. Set a small achievable goal. And, if it only takes a couple of hours, that's fine, great. That means you might be able to go, oh, actually, maybe do a little bit more. But keep your goals realistic and relax, because it is just another day.
And it makes the moments of success so much greater.
The highs can be extremely high, and obviously the lows can be really low. And it is also worth remembering that, the lows suck, but there are those times when you spend months negotiating with a client, going back and forth with the design phase to get that contract, to get that great, big, nice contract. And when that comes in, enjoy it, because it's taken a lot of work to get to it. So those are just those absolutely amazing moments where you get the big contract that you've wanted, that you've really, really pushed to get, and then enjoy doing it. And I think that's really important. Sometimes you can just get bogged down in, oh, it's another job. Right, get on and do some work. Try to find a way to take that moment to go, this is flipping awesome. I can't believe I'm getting to do this.
So what inspires you to keep on going?
I'll be honest, it's mainly family, specifically two people, my granddad and my daughter. My granddad was a great man, and he was like a proper old school man's man. And so in my mind, he never had a day off. He was either, whether it be his military career or his career or just being head of a family and a household, he never had a day off. When I need a lift or a boost, that's what I can regularly think of. And there's my daughter. And I hate to use the word legacy because I think, again, it's a bit of a cliche. But, if I'm thinking about going into work and I'm really tired and I need to get something done to get it over the line, it's that trying to create, just that future, that just having those finances there so that when she's a bit older, she wants to learn to drive, she wants to buy a house, whatever it is, it's there. And so I regularly think about my family because that's my, the thing that pushes me along.
It's so important to have those people or things in your mind when you're going through, some really tough times, that you almost have that selfless feeling of, okay, great, it's something bigger than just myself.
When you work for yourself, you might think, oh, it's just me, I work for myself. I don't work for a company, but I do have clients, lots of clients, and their happiness and their life means a lot to me. So there are occasions where, perhaps maybe you underestimate a project, and you're getting halfway through and you kind of think, oh God, I just want this to end. What I always kind of just think, well, no, I need to get it done right. It needs to be right. If it's not good enough for me, then it's definitely not good enough for them. So I genuinely have their best interests at heart, and that's, again, what pushes me further.
Working with clients, it's not always easy. How many clients do you currently have?
So we normally operate in a situation where we have between 3 and 5 projects on at any one time. If one's going out, one is in full manufacturing, and then at the same time, we'll be doing design work on another one. We also hopefully will have maybe 2 to 3 other projects that we're kind of tentatively working on, those preliminary drawings, designs, and just kind of having those meetings. So around 5.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
Are there any daily habits that you have that help you, zone in, remain focused? But is there anything daily that you do?
Yeah, get out of bed. Just get up. Set an alarm nice and early. Don't sit in bed scrolling on your phone. For the first couple of times, you might be a bit groggy in the mornings or whatever like that. But eventually, your body clock resets and you're awake, you're alert. And then you can be sat there I will look at those emails. I will do that invoicing, those quotations, those drawings. Next thing you know, you're a couple of months down the line and you found out that you've managed to do all of your admin before 8 a.m. So I'm going into work at 8 a.m. and I don't need to worry about emailing that client back, doing that little revision to a drawing or any of that. I've done it all. The world is such a quiet place first thing in the morning. A workshop is a noisy environment. It's really hard to kind of focus at times. I live in a city. It's a busy environment. Get up early. It's quiet. You can think.
I love that. Yeah, I'm a not a early morning person, but someone that has kind of had to force themselves to enjoy that.
It was a COVID thing, actually. So during COVID, our orders, or our inquiries, more importantly, went through the roof. I was getting inquiries 5, 6, 7 times per day. And not wanting to let anyone down, I wanted to deal with those inquiries. Every inquiry is important, no matter where it is or what it is. So I would want to deal with it. And there's only so many hours in the day. We had a full order book, we were working. So I was like, right, I've got to get up earlier and do it. So it would be get up at 7, not only have to get up at 6. At one point, I think I was getting up at 5 a.m. to spend 2 hours just doing paperwork. And then after the kind of chaos went away, it was something I held on to. So now, regardless of what I'm doing, I get up at 6. If 2 days a week, I'll go for a swim, which means I get up, I get dressed, I'm in the pool by 6:45. But if I'm not going for a swim, that just gives me that time to just sit and chill. My daughter doesn't get up till 7, so that means I've got an hour of absolute silence if I want it. It's just a lovely time.
I absolutely love that. I think what you're talking about with unlocking extra time is so important. And obviously, as a Huel consumer, time is extremely important. It's the convenience, obviously, and nutrition. How has Huel helped your extremely busy lifestyle?
It's time and energy. When you do have a really busy, hectic lifestyle, it's really hard to balance, having something that's filling and nutritious and tastes good. And Huel just smashes it. They just really get that nice, perfect balance of something that's really nutritious, really, it's great and healthy for you, but it gives you that extra time. Biggest thing for me about Huel is that at the end of the day, I still have energy. You can sit there and you can have a nice, healthy lunch, and that's all wonderful, but then you get home from work and you are knackered because you've had, 200 calories of salad. But if you have Huel, I get home from work, I still have energy. Yeah, I am hungry, I want to have my dinner, but I have enough energy to still be a dad and a partner to my wife, and we can still have our evening together and be nutritious at the same time. You
have such limited capacity to think with the amount that you do, that not having to think about lunch must be a weight off your shoulders.
It's brilliant. There is no thought process. I wake up in the morning, I make myself an espresso, and then I make my Huel and I leave the house. It's that simple.
You love just adding the caffeine to the Huel.
I'll be honest, I really like coffee. It's weird. A lot of people kind of I am slightly shocked to even be here, purely because most people that know me for very much being a foodie. I love eating out, I love wine, I love coffee. But the nice thing about Huel is you can use it to balance your diet. You can use it to kind of offset some of the higher calorie things in your lifestyle for those lower calories, so that then throughout a week you can have a nice, balanced, healthy, nutritious lifestyle.
Thing is though, I wish we had more time because I'd love to speak more about your actual projects, because there seems like there's so many interesting things that you...
Instagram, MD Bespoke Interiors.
Okay, perfect.